Hello everyone, this is Dr. Achal and I welcome you again in our subject module titled as Services Marketing. So, in our previous discussion we have dealt with strategies of dealing with the perishability factor, which is being talked of as one of the important aspect of the services, because we know that the services, they are basically intangible in nature, and because of that particular abstractness we are very much being sure enough that here whenever the offerings are being disposed of by the service provider, they are there is a situation in which the customers should be present, and that is in a situation which says out the fact that here whenever the offerings are being produced, they are being disposed of by the marketers, there should be an equal effort being directed by the customers, by the consumers to have in person approach with the marketers, so as to assimilate out those consumption of the services very effectively. Now, in today's deliberation we will be moving out with another concept and another important feature of the services, that is being associated in terms of the inconsistency factor, and this inconsistency factor is also one of the important characteristics of the services, wherein we are checking and we are having out a notion which is defined in terms of purchasing and consuming out the services, coming out with a different kind of experiences, the consumption of the offerings having a different kind of moments to cherish upon, the consumption of the services coming out with a different kind of experiences in each and every session, in each and every sitting, in each and every situation we are experiencing a different, I mean their quantum and their magnitude is very much being different in each and every situation, in each every session, whenever we are moving in for the purchase and the consumption of the a particular set of the basket of the services offering. Now, this is a strategy, that is what are the strategies which the service firm and the service provider have to go in for dealing out the this unique feature of the inconsistency. That is all we will be dealing in today's discussion. Now, this says that the strategies for dealing with inconsistency, and here we are seeing that what does, firstly we have to just ensure that what does this word inconsistency means, and it says that inconsistency is also known as heterogeneity, and it is in characteristics of the services that makes them standardized and uniform than the goods. By their very nature, several services, they are highly variable in the quality. So, we are saying that the inconsistency, which is also known as heterogeneity, it is the basic characteristics of the services that make them standardized and uniform than goods, which particularly means, here we are in a simpler language we can say that the inconsistency, it is also synonymously, it can be defined in terms of the heterogeneity factor. We as a service provider or we as a marketer, we are not being able enough to cater on to the needs and the expectations of the people in a very uniform basis. On a very uniform basis, we are not being able enough to provide the creation, the delivery of the offerings on a very consistent basis. That is not a good situation. That is not, I mean, that is not feasible enough in the discipline of the services. So, we are saying that the inconsistency is also being talked of in the sense of the heterogeneity, and this is the important characteristics in the services arena, wherein we are witnessing that in case of the production of the physical commodities or the physical goods, we as a customer, we are experiencing the standardized approach, the uniformity is being experienced by us with each and every purchase and the consumption of the physical commodities. But this is not so in the case of the services, and because of this particular important unique feature, we are experiencing that there are several services which are highly variable in their quality, and variations in the sense of assimilation of the experiences, variation in terms of getting the same kind of feel, that is not feasible enough in the services arena. And we have taken for the purpose of understanding the concept of the inconsistency, we have taken one of the example which says out the fact that it is very difficult for the hairdresser to dress hair exactly the same every time, and for every marketing consultants make sales forecast for their clients that are always accurate. So, here we have taken an example of, like suppose you have visited to a particular grooming center for getting yourself groomed. you're trying to trim out your hairs. So in each and every for the periodic session in which you have visited to a particular grooming center, it is very much being difficult enough that even if you have visited and you are trying to use out the services of the same hairdresser to get yourself or to get your hair trimmed in a certain style, then that particular experiences which you have enjoyed in the very first instance will not be same in the next discourse when you are visiting to the same grooming center and you are just trying to consume out the services from the same hairdresser. The services that is being offered by the same hairdresser will not be the same as compared to the experience that you have encashed, that you have enjoyed in the very first session. That is not that will not be same enough, that will not be uniform enough. More so, however, we are seeing that on the part of speaking on the part of the service firm or the service marketer, we are seeing that the marketing consultants, they are not being able enough to measure and to forecast the sales volume for their clients very accurately, because we know that in each and every situation the future is uncertain. As the future is uncertain, we are very much being sure enough that here this uncertainty is being associated in terms of the number of risk and the variables that are giving us a challenge factor for us. The quantum and the magnitude of the risk is being defined in terms of the placement of the demand being placed by the customers, in terms of the moving expectations of the customers in the sense of the changing lifestyle, the changing demographic features of the customers, in the sense of the demographic validation, in the sense of the political and legal factors, in a way wherein the competitive element is getting changed and the competitors themselves, they are giving out a strategy not very much being feasible enough to react, or not very much being feasible enough to defend out. So here talking of with regard to the service marketer, talking from the perspective of the service organization, in both the cases the service organization is also not very much being diligent enough to make out the accurate forecast in terms of the placement of the demand that is being placed by the customers, because the future is very much being uncertain, and here different kind of variables which are operating in terms of the micro factor, in terms of the macro variables, they are affecting the demand placement or the demand expectation being placed on the part of the customers. So very difficult to measure that. Now we are seeing that moving on. Now this slide says that most of the services, they are being labor intensive as people are involved in delivering them. This factor makes them prone to high variability, but what the service firm can do is endeavor to make the performance as efficient and consistent as possible. Now we are saying that we know that in each and every service organization, in most of the service organization, in most of the establishment, we are dealing with the inconsistency factor, we are dealing with the perishability factor, we are dealing with the intangibility factor. As the services, they are pure in nature, we are seeing that for proper creation in the delivery process, it is the human power who is being employed in your establishment. So that is why the people who are being deployed and who are taking out to play out the position of the frontline staff, they need to be persuaded enough, they need to be motivated enough, and this persuasion and the motivation factor should be so strong that they are reflecting out in their personality. Their psychographic and their psychological temperaments are very much being diligent enough to create and to deliver out. Particularly the deliverance process is being talked of, and it is being done on the part of the frontline staff. So their proper delivery, the etiquettes, the mannerism, the habits, the personality, the motivation level, the attitude, the learning mechanism that they are holding on, the cognitive beliefs, thought process should be diligent enough, then only, and they will be working in an empathetic way, and the resilience and the responsiveness will be, that will be delivered in the part whenever they are just trying to meet out and they are trying to get in touch with the meeting out the expectations of the people. So here we are seeing that yes, definitely in most of the service organization, it is the people who are authorized to take care of the proper deliverance of the services, as they are in direct touch with the customers, the people who are being involved, they have to be trained enough, they have to be motivated enough, and many of the instances it is being seen that this particular factor makes them more prone to variability, because we know that as we have taken an example that if you have visited to a particular the same example, visiting to a particular grooming center to get your hairs being trimmed up with the same hairdresser, the same experience you will not be facing in each and every sitting, in each and every session that you are visiting to the same grooming center. Similarly, if you are visited to a particular, if you are visiting to a particular dentist for getting yourself to just get rid yourself with certain kind of toothache problem, visiting to a particular dentist, and if the dentist has diagnosed the toothache and they have gone into the extraction of your tooth, in the very first instance you have not felt any kind of pain, but that may not hold good in the next sitting whenever you are visiting to the same dentist again. So this kind of variability, this is very much being highly prominent in case of the services, because here we are seeing that the people, they are being deployed, and because of the deployment of the human beings, the living beings, the human beings, especially the human beings, they are being deployed. We are very much being worthy enough, it is very much being worthy enough to understand and comprehend that the variability factor will definitely, it will be there only. We will not be able enough to just give them a standardized kind of feel and a standardized kind of experience again and again if the delivery is being made by the same set of people in the same establishment for the same offering. Again, we are saying that if the service firm can do what the service firm can do in order to meet out with this particular variability factor, which is being associated in the part of the working culture of the people being deployed in your organization, what the service firm can do, they can endeavor to make the performance as efficient and consistent as possible. Now, making them all the efforts that is being crafted in the part of the establishment, making their performance being efficient enough, they being talked of as an effective enough, the efforts, the channelization, the proper delivery mechanism, the proper procedural plans being crafted, they should be consistent enough, they should be uniform enough, then only there can be an alternative solution, that can be an alternative solution to go in for, to just removing and to just minimizing, not removing altogether, we cannot remove, but yes, we can just being able enough to to just minimize out this level of the variability that is being expected on the part of the deliverance of the people in your establishment. If they are being thrown with a certain uniform procedural plans, if they are thrown with a certain kind of well established procedural, standardized procedural rules and the regulations to obey upon, the norms are being defined enough, definitely this will help you out to act as a controlling mechanism to check out the quality of the deliverance being displayed on the part of the people working as in a frontline staff. So, moving on altogether, what are the important strategies for dealing with the inconsistency? And here we are saying that for standardization of the services, generally two of the methods are being used, which I explained below, that is the industrialized services and establishing the set rules and the procedures. Now, in order to deal out with the problem of the highly variability, the service firm are moving in for going out two of the approaches, and they are adopting out the approaches of standardization. They are just trying to standardize out the things by either replacing out the services being displaced, being crafted on the part of the people, replacing the services that is being delivered on the part of the people with the mechanized approach. There can be a situation, or either we may go in for the establishment of the a very strong and robust mechanism in terms of the defining out the procedural plans and the rules and mechanisms. Now, this is industrializing the services, what is all it is being related with? Here we are seeing that for standardization of the services, the organization, they generally do industrialization of the services delivery, which lower the inefficiency and the excessive variability through hardcore technologies, softcore technologies and the hybrid technologies. Now, this is an approach wherein we are seeing that the services should be industrialized And for the purpose of industrialization or for the purpose of standardization of the services, the organization, they are just trying to come out with the minimizing out the inefficiency and come out within a approach of removing out the excess variability being thrown on the part of the employees, either through the hardcore technologies, either by adoption of the softcore technologies, or by having a proper blend of both the technologies, that is hardcore and the softcore, by coming out within a hybrid way. So, industrialization of the services, it is more in an elaborate form. We will be saying that this is an aspect in which says out the graphical presentation of the industrialization of the services, that is the hard technologies, soft technologies and hybrid technologies. And here we are saying that the hard technologies, that is the industrialization of the services, it is being talked of in the sense that either certain stabilized, mechanized deployment of the machines and the tools or the equipments can be placed, and that is being placed by replacing out the human manpower. There can be an alternative solution, and if the machines and the automatic way of deliverance of the services are being done, then definitely we will be coming out with a standardized way. Like suppose the same thing we had in the earlier course of action, we were trying to go in for the, we are going in for the banking sector for getting our passbook printed through the manual mode, but nowadays we are very much being consistent enough to have the proper standardized approach very quickly by inserting our passbook with the help of the kiosk machine. Similarly, there can be an alternate solution of the soft technologies. We can be able enough to take out the help of certain kind of software, softwares are there to help you out. We do not have to go in for the the adoption of the uses of the certain kind of offerings which is being given by certain specified people, but either the different kind of deployment of the software tools and the techniques can be used for consuming the same kind of services. Like suppose we can take an example, you are trying to measure out your your heartbeat and the pulse rate, and you are not having a certain kind of proper equipment, then definitely if you are not having or you are lacking in terms of having the proper equipment to diagnose out your pulse rate and the heart rate, you may go in for installation of the software in your device, in your mobile, in your for the purpose of this particular software will be helping you out to diagnose out your pulse rate and the BP very frequently, having a greater ease and the appeal. So, this is an option of the soft technologies, giving out you greater access and availability very frequently 24/7 hours. Now, the third approach, that is a hybrid technology, it is having a mixed blend of the hard and the soft technologies, and here depending upon the nature of the core offerings, we may go in for the adoption of the standardized approach by replacing out the manpower deployment with the adoption of the technological gadgets, the machines and the tools, or either we may go in for the soft technology depending upon the nature of the offerings. And we can take an example, suppose for the purpose of calculating or for the purpose of maintaining out our ledger balance, our accounting balance, we are trying to take the help of the manual mode, but nowadays there are certain kind of software, we are having ERPs, we are having tally, we are having accounting tallies coming out within a different kind of versions. So, those people who are in a need of maintaining out their transaction books in the form of maintenance of the ledgers and the cash book and the sales book and different other kind of petty books, if they are working in a smaller establishment, they may go in for creation of the these kind of important documents in a very hard way. Certain evidences should be there, definitely it should be there, but if you if you are working in a very bigger organization, the supportive documents should be there in establishment working in the bigger organization, but definitely for the purpose of providing a greater appeal and easy access and the quick and the prompt services, you have to just deploy the proper accounting software. The packages are there, ERPs are there coming with the different versions, the tally software are there, that will be helping you out to facilitate out your area of transaction in your bigger establishment as compared to the organization which is trying to work in a very smaller way, and they may go in for the adoption of the manual mode and a traditional mode or the conventional mode as compared to the bigger organization which are in a great need of having a good blending of the hard technologies and the soft technologies for the prompt and effective delivery of the services process in the establishment. So, with this I hope that you people have understood the concept of the perishability and the concept of the variability, and how this variability factor is affecting the creation and the delivery process being talked of, and that is being seen on the part of the service provider, that is we have discussed in today's discussion. Furthermore, we have elaborated on the concept of the strategies, that how the service firm or the organization will go in for the adoption of the strategies for the purpose of removing this problem of inconsistency, for the purpose of removing this problem of the variability. What are the important variables, what are the important strategies they may go in for? The strategies may be in the form of the standardized one, that is the replacement and the replacement of the deployment of the manpower with the help of the techniques and the tools. The strategy may be in the form of the adoption of the standardized rules, the procedural norms, the frameworks well defined, so that the people who are working in establishment, they are having that feel that yes, the parameters are being defined, the procedural pathway are being defined, the tools and the techniques they are being defined, and how they are working out in a particular establishment, how they are how much efficacy with what with I mean they are very much being assured enough towards knowing out the fact that their proper deliverance of the services are being measured with the help of certain kind of parameters. So, that particular thing is worthy enough, because we know that each and every human being, they tend to get they tend to get perish, they tend to get at certain instances, they tend to get themselves involved in certain kind of unproductive aspects. They are not very much being worthy enough, and there can be certain instances in which they are not working properly. They tend to misuse the resources which are in terms of the time, talent and treasure. They tend to misuse out the resources which are very much being limited in nature for each and every establishment, and they are being put to the alternative use. So, in order to just curb these kind of practices which are being shown on the part of the frontline staff working in the establishment, which may be shown on the part of the people who are working at the back end staff, that we as a marketer, we are just trying to measure and we are trying to check out the performance that you are trying to give to the target audience. There are certain standards and the quality checks are being made, the preemptive quality checks are being made in order to measure out the efficacy, with what quantum of efficacy they are delivering out the services to the people, and whether there is any deviation or not. So, the establishment and the fixation of the controlling mechanism is very much being required in each and establishment, in each every organization, because it is because of the presence of the standards and the measurement factor and the parameters. They are serving as a yardstick, as a benchmark to measure out the performance of the people who are working in the establishment. And then the people and the manpower who are being acting in a different kind of functional areas, who are working in the form of the different kind of role positions, acting as a finance manager, working and they are working as a marketing manager, playing out the role of the HR executive, working in the establishment of the research and the innovativity factor. They all are knowing out the fact that because of that establishment of the standards and the parameters and the benchmarks, it will be serving as a parameter, serving as a benchmark to measure out the quality of the performance that they are trying to give in their establishment. So, they always have that particular factor in their mind that they are being measured enough, they are being gauged enough, and if there are certain kind of deviations which is being seen on the part of their working procedures, on the part of their procedural plan, definitely they will be given out with a certain kind of they will be given with certain kind of orientation, they will be given with certain kind of training intermittently to help them out to come out within a proper kind of way. For both the parties, this is very much being beneficial, because on the part of the organization and the establishment, definitely the organization will be improving out their aspect in terms of their growth, in terms of their productivity. And on the part of the customers will definitely be more being delighted enough, because they will be getting out a customization of the offerings, they will be getting out the personalization of the offerings. At the same time, their experiences will more be enhanced in nature, they will be in cashing out a more delightment in with the purchase and the consumption of the offerings, because they will be having out that feel that the variability factor is more being minimized because of the adoption of these kind of practices. That is the practices of the establishment of well defined procedural plans and the tools and the techniques, and the adoption of the replacement of the manpower with the help of some tools and the techniques. All these strategies will be helping them out for the different stakeholders. From the customer's point of view, the customers will definitely, they will be adapted enough to experience the same and the consistent quality of the services again and again. Similarly, on the part of the service organization will be further moving out with their growth and the diversification aspect, because their employees will be working wholeheartedly. They will be having out of the feel that they are being measured, they are being checked, and the deviations are also being measured, and certain repetitive remedial actions are being taken for the purpose of correcting their loopholes, for correcting their lacunas in their working terms. So, on the part of the service organization, definitely that will be a good move to talk of. Their productivity and the growth, definitely the diversification aspect may also be pronounced enough in the years to come. And talking of on the part of the employees, so employees will also be motivated enough, they will also be getting benefit by adoption of the standardized tools and the techniques, by the establishment of the set procedural plans and the pathways, because it is the employees who are working in an establishment, and the people are associating out their personal growth in terms of the growth of the organization, then definitely they will be having out that feel that if their organization in which they are being deployed with, that are growing, that are developing, that are prospering, then definitely the personal growth and the enhancement will also be done in the due course of time. So, this particular kind of feeling and this kind of feeling and inculcation should be there on the part of the working procedural plans of the employees, and definitely they will be coming out within a flying colors in due course of action. So, with this I hope that you people have understood the concept of the strategies and the concept and the strategies that the organization has to pursue in order to deal out with the factor of the inconsistency, that is by using out the hard code technologies, by using out the soft code technologies, or by having a proper blend of the hard and the soft code technologies. So, with this I hope that you have comprehended, and the next discourse will be dealing with the next topic. So, till then stay safe and stay blessed. Thank you all for joining.